Hey y'all, it's July the 18th, 2017, and y'all, I wanted to take a moment out, talk to y'all about something. It popped up in my head yesterday, and I want to make sure I don't forget. There's two things that I think would be important, real important, very important, for us to share right now. Two pretty relevant current topics that are going on right now. Number one is Milo Yiannopolis, right? And most of y'all know who that is. Surely, some of y'all out there don't. And if that's the case, you need to Google him, alright? I honestly don't have time to explain him. But those who do know Milo Yiannopolis, they might know he's kind of what's popping in the streets right now. The other thing that we were going to discuss is one of the recent issues of Teen Vogue, believe it or not, and understand that I'm not a subscriber, right? And actually, the two things that might at first seem unrelated, but I do have to assure you they're very related, alright? So, anyways, everything's connected, y'all guys. First of all, let's talk about Milo Yiannopolis, alright? Assuming that you know who he is, you might be aware that he recently released his book. His book's called Dangerous. He recently went on a nationwide tour. The tour is called the Dangerous Faggot Tour, and he had a lot of success. A little while back, he actually suffered a little bit of controversy and was made to apologize for some of the statements that he had made in regards to in particular a Joe Rogan podcast that he had been on, in which Milo Yiannopolis, basically what he did was joke about his own personal rape, like when he was 13, 14 years old and stuff like that, and he made it seem as though he didn't mind necessarily that he had been raped by an older man, alright, a preacher and stuff that he had come to know. Of course, Milo Yiannopolis is publicly very much a Catholic. Alright, I think that's very important to remember. Alright, so he just released a book called Dangerous. Right, I think it's very important to note Milo Yiannopolis right now because of all the scandal and all the whole situation that the Catholic Church seemed to have got themselves into over there at the Vatican. You know what I'm saying? I think Milo Yiannopolis is going to be one of those people who proves to be paramount in either the Catholic Church crumbling to the ground or just completely reforming itself. Alright? One of the two. Alright, I want to bring up this. It sparked a large controversy when Milo Yiannopolis was joking about his own personal rape that happened when he was 13, 14 years old. But actually, in the very same podcast, a lot of people don't know, Milo Yiannopolis said a lot of things. See, Milo Yiannopolis will say some things you were not ready for, you weren't ready to hear. For in particular, there was one point in the broadcast where he mentions that, in his own opinion, from his perspective, Milo Yiannopolis, he said that homosexuals out there, in essence, they're being a homosexual, they're doing the homosexual thing almost as a protest, and in that they know it's bad, but they do it in a form of protest. Now, of course, a lot of homosexuals, they definitely don't think Milo Yiannopolis speaks for them, but the whole idea he brought up was very crucial, because here's the thing: there's been a lot of straight people or Christian people or whoever type of people who that's what their theory was, that all these homosexuals out here, really, they just want to do something that's very naughty, that's something very bad, that they shouldn't be doing it, right? And that is the whole point. A lot of homosexuals out there will argue that that's not the point. It's because y'all love each other and y'all are so in love and stuff. I couldn't tell you either way. All I'm saying is that there have been these differing theories, and Milo Yiannopolis, a very, very openly homosexual man, he let that blurt out, I don't know, like a year ago on the Joe Rogan podcast, that they do it is in some form of protest. And what I'm here to suggest is that, probably that is what the case is, even if they don't know it or not. They're protesting something in their brain. It got it into their brain that, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to live this way, I'm going to have my sex like this, in some sort of form of protest. And I know that sounds absurd to a lot of people, but like, for example, that complete notion was very vividly illustrated in such literature as 1984. All right, for those who have read it, there's a particular part in which, the main character, and I forget what his name is, he's having some sex with Julia over in like some bushes, or like over in some secret place and stuff. I think it might have been like an abandoned building. They were having some just low down, getting right to the nitty gritty type sex, right? And he talks about how, the most thrilling part of the whole ordeal was the fact is that this was not allowed, all right? This was viewed as totally immoral and against the political party that ruled over all of Oceania, all right? So his actual sex act with Julia in his mind was completely and utterly against the political party. And that's what he was thinking about while he was doing it. So basically that in essence is exactly the way in which Milo Yiannopolis described homosexual sex. And you can believe with him or you not believe in what he says, it really doesn't matter. He put that out there though, alright? It seemed like he was very sincere about it, like he really didn't have nothing to hide about it. That is what he does. It is a form of protest. Now, if you just, look into his history, obviously he was sexually encountered by grown men in the Catholic Church, by the way. Alright? And they turned him all homosexual. They got his wires crossed and stuff. And so now he likes to be homosexual. Thing is, what I think I got to explain is that it's very crucial that he is homosexual. Because if you think about Milo Yiannopolis, the thing is, if he wasn't homosexual, he probably wouldn't have such a loud voice right now. He wouldn't be reaching so many people, obviously. It's because of who he is. That's why he's so popular. Right? And meanwhile, it could very well be in his heart, as he has explained, that whenever he does his homosexual stuff, it merely is in protest of what's happened to him. Right? How completely backwards. He's noticed from a very young age, oh yeah, the Catholic Church, oh, they're going to tell you homosexual goes to hell. It's going to take you right to hell. Meanwhile, his own pastors and preachers are getting it on with him in the back. He's a 13, 14-year-old boy. This is what happened, right? So this is his mentality. Alright, and before we get off that subject, as you could very well see, he's still very openly Catholic. And what you got to understand is, especially in this political environment, this scandalous, controversial environment that the Vatican's having right now, Milo Yiannopolis is going to prove to be quite dangerous. Quite dangerous. Alright, because Milo Yiannopolis does not have boundaries. He's not controlled by the Roman Catholic Church. He does profess to be openly Catholic and openly homosexual, and he says he does homosexual sex in protest of y'all. Alright, so Catholic Church, honestly, and I'm not giving them ideas, I'm sure that they already know who Milo Yiannopolis is, and they already understand just how dangerous he is. Alright, because when you have someone on the inside, when you actually have a homosexual willing to out all of y'all for your pedophile ways, it's going to prove to be quite dangerous. Now, that all being said, like I said, we were going to talk a little about Teen Vogue. Recent Teen Vogue magazine, and y'all might not even know about this yet. Alright? Believe it or not, Teen Vogue is a magazine that's targeted towards 11 to 17-year-old young girls, or boys who think they're girls, I don't know. But that's the target audience, 11 to 17 years old girls, and you know that. It's called Teen Vogue. That's what it's called. Alright, so apparently their June edition, right, had just a full and vivid color, just total manual on how to have anal sex, how to be penetrated in your anus for 11 to 17-year-old. I swear, I wish I was making this up. Google it. Go ahead. Google that. Right? They did it. All right. Just basically a how-to manual on how to get penetrated up your anus. And that's where we're sitting at right now today with Teen Vogue. Of course, a lot of people are very upset about that. I believe you can imagine why they would be upset about that. Right? In reality, if we're speaking scientifically, just to take a moment out to, whatever your religious background, whatever your moral background, you gotta understand, putting things up in your anus, dude, eventually that's gonna cause health problems for you, dude. This is scientific. People have studied this. It'll cause you health problems. Sincerely, it doesn't matter why you do it, right? You're not supposed to get whatever up in there. It's not supposed to happen. After a while, it's going to give you health problems, to include cancer, right? And this is well known, right? So that all being said, you got Teen Vogue, for whatever reason, taking it upon themselves to show 11 to 17-year-old girls and boys who think that they're girls how to get penetrated in their anus successfully, respectfully, safely. I don't know. Just put in full vivid color, all sort of transgender sex and homosexual sex all over the place, directed at children. Alright, so let's take a moment out to think about pedophilia, for example. Pedophilia, actually, believe it or not, is completely legal here in America. Alright, it's outrageous, but it is. And you can tell because people do it wide in the wide out open. Alright, like National Geographic been on this pedophilia tip, right? For example, you know what I'm saying? Now Teen Vogue is jumping in the mix. And a lot of people, like I said, they got upset. For some reason, they got upset at the idea of a magazine telling 11 to 17-year-old girls and boys who think that they're girls how to get penetrated up their butts. They got upset by that. And I noticed that they got upset by that, and honestly, sorry to say, I had to agree with them. But at the same time, I'll let y'all know this. Ever since I've been here in Big Spring, it's been about 2 years, right? Almost 2 years. I would hang out in the Dollar General because that's where my homegirl Tammy works, over at the Dollar General. I'd be hanging out in the front of the Dollar General, right there in the lobby, right where you check out. Alright? And, I'd have a lot of time, and lots of times my attention would go towards these magazines. Now, not specifically just Teen Vogue, but Vogue magazine and Cosmopolitan and all of this and that and the other. There's a lot of different ones, alright? What I noticed immediately when you actually read the content in these magazines is that it's all complete pornography. It's absolute, undeniable smut. In the front of the checkout line, I'm talking about Dollar General, at your Walmart, at your H-E-B's, and what, it's going to be there, right? How to have just all sort of orgasms, this and that. It's absolute pornography. And for some reason that's acceptable. It's always kind of bewildered me. Just to think about, men and ladies, traditionally speaking, men who think that they're men and ladies who think that they're ladies. We've all known for quite some time that men are more visual than ladies as far as sexual relations. Everybody knows that. It's common knowledge, right? So with that being said, these magazines, every last one of them, over and over and over again, every single month, are absolute pornography smut. And we allow that in the front of the checkout line. We allow that. That's normal. That's normal to do. And you notice every month they'll be like, oh, how to have 15 different orgasms. This is how you keep a man. You want to keep a man? You want to keep a man? Oh, this is how you do it. You got to play with this and that. You got to use your, you got to do this. It's how you get penetrated anally and stuff because you're going to love it. Do this and that. And, you do this and that. Here's the thing. If y'all's magazines worked, you don't have to make like 1 or 2 magazines and then you'll be done. The fact is that y'all bullshit magazines that is full of pornography, and I'm talking about all of them, they literally don't help women. In fact, they ruin their relationships all the time, more often than not. That's what happens, and that's the reason why you can continue to copy them and make different editions every single month. It's because your readership fails miserably in relationships. And so they'll buy next month's issue hoping, maybe I'll have this sort of orgasm. Maybe I'll be able to hold on to a man this time and stuff. No, you're not going to. And this is pornography, by the way. And people are starting to get angry for some reason that, magazines want to talk to your 11-year-old daughter about how to get penetrated in her anus. All right, people are mad about that for some reason. I don't know. It might have something to do with a divide or a tribulation or something like that. Anyways, this is July the 18th, 2017, and I'll holler at y'all.